Thank you so much, Dora. How's it going?
Um, it's going good.
Awesome. I appreciate you taking the time today. Thank you very much. I wasn't sure if something had popped up. So, like I was saying, if something, was happening, not a problem. We could reschedule. But thank you very much for taking the time. This is awesome.
Literally nothing.
Okay. Okay. Well, I
I need my
want to.
watching Go Diego Go.
Okay. Okay.
We're going out of style.
Okay, sick. I have to say too. I think it was just shortly before this. I was actually reading a book, and after having children, just being able to have a second to do something to yourself and kind of hang out and have some peace and quiet. It's a beautiful thing.
Buy it? What's that? I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, once they hit school, that's where then you're like, oh, okay, just a couple of minutes. That's it.
Sure.
So I wanted to, dig into, we're going to get into earlier times and different things as far as, your interest in film, but as well as, starting working on film as well. My introduction to your work was Bliss. And seeing that and just, going from there, following your work from early on, you tell us about a TV show or maybe even film, that was something that, really resonated with you and maybe sparked an interest as far as maybe an actress or somebody that really caught your attention.
Mm. Oh, well, I always watched like all the like John Carpenter movies. I was like a really big Halloween fan. So like Jamie Lee Curtis, obviously, is like the ultimate final girl. Like I don't know if she's like the first final girl for like that stayed through the franchise. I don't know. I'm not enough of a movie buff about that. But so I was always like really into those movies and stuff, and I just like thought it was really cool, like all the effects and the behind the scenes stuff. And like my brother was really into horror movies. His birthday is October 25th, and so mom would always do like Halloween themed like
Oh,
things.
dang.
Like when it was like his 18th birthday party, she like decorated like our dinner table with like a severed leg and like a rat. like, and what's up? Yeah, you're eating a popsicle. Cool. Yeah, so I was really into that. But I mean, I just kind of liked all movies in general. Like, we had a pretty big family, so like usually every weekend we were like seeing like every major blockbuster,
Okay.
like so just like I grew up with that like kind of like golden age of like 90s cinema,
Mhm.
where like I don't know, like going and seeing like Meet Joe Black and like The Patriot and stuff like that. And movies that are just kind of like few and far between these days, and yeah, like things that you watch back then you're like, wow, like this never like I was watching Bridges of Madison County the other day and I was like, this movie today would like never be made with like who is in it and like the budget that they probably had, and like these so like I don't know, it's just kind of cool and I miss the the movie the preview guy like for
Okay.
blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like it was the same dude no matter what the movie was. It could be like killer clowns terrorizing the neighborhood. It'll be like young girl in New York City. Like you know what I mean? Like it was just like no like in between for like the preview guy voice. Wasn't it like James Earl Jones or something? I don't know.
I think
But
at some point, I mean, it sounded like that,
yeah, eat that. So I was just like inspired by like movies in general. There wasn't really a genre that I loved more than the other or anything like that. But I performed in like a haunted house a couple times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Dang.
uh, just like as a teenager and stuff. But yeah,
The
and then
rules.
but horror fans are like the most fun out of anybody. Like horror fans are like the least hater group of like oh like no I don't want any thank you though You eat it. Well, okay, I'll eat it if the only place you're gonna put it is on my bed. Anyway,
That's it. In a nutshell, it's parenting. Yeah.
but yeah, so yeah, I love movies in general. I was
Okay.
always like watching True Hollywood Story,
Oh,
and
okay.
I was just like the youngest of like 7 kids, and we lived in the middle of nowhere, and I just thought that it would be cool to like grow up and be in movies and like be a celebrity.
And you touching on like your local theater. Oh, I'm
And
sorry.
um whenever I was like doing like Friday Night Lights and like Chicago Fire and stuff, you know, we're living in Austin and we're living in Chicago. Well, I'm from Austin, so
Mhm.
that wasn't that big deal because I would just like see my friends everywhere, you know. But like when you start like going to festivals and stuff, and there's like all these people that are like, oh my god, like can we take a picture of you? And I want to tell you about all the different ways that this like means something to me and blah 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 blah. And like you're like, whoa, cool. Like I totally am way too high for this, but yeah, tell me about it. I think I was like, I when it started to come over here. These are mommy's earrings. Anyways, whenever like that's happening, I was kind of like I would get really like anxious. Like it wasn't like the cool feeling that I thought it was gonna be. It like made me want to puke.
Okay. Just from like the nerve of like an expectation.
Loved it, you know, and I loved like that people like were like, oh, this is how this touched me and everything like that and stuff like that. But then other
Okay.
times people were just like really like rude, like, oh hey, I hated you. And you're like, what the fuck? Like I'm literally just waiting in line to get a coffee. Like
Okay. And so you mentioned like your local movie theater. Is there something as far as maybe even something that was in the theater or a movie poster or something early on that is like a fond memory to you as far as all the times going? And was this in Texas then? Was this in Dallas? That was the theater?
it was in like the Austin area. And yeah, like
Okay.
we would go and we'd get there early and we would play video games.
Yeah, okay.
I'd like loved Galaga. Such a weird memory, but he's like the little like and
Right.
and like me and my brother would like play like air hockey and shit. Like, do they even make air hockey tables anymore? Like, where did they all go?
I think they still have them. Like arcades are like movie. I think my local movie theater still has one too. So yeah, just
Yeah,
not very many like they used to, but
like adult arcades and like get drunk.
as far as you mentioned a brother having a really close birthday to Halloween. Any memories come back as far as a couple of years that you really went out for Halloween and dressed up as maybe somebody early on version of acting?
I think when I acted in like the haunted house, yeah, but usually, like by the time I turned like 16 or whatever, when we would go to like Halloween parties, we were just like dressing up as like slutty Pocahontas or something. So
Okay.
one time I went to this like really big Halloween party when I was in high school, and it was because I went to like a private Christian school.
Okay.
And so like we didn't have parties. Nobody at my school really like parties for like Adderall subscription, whatever prescription. Like would go and then like I played like club volleyball with this girl that also got kicked out of her school or whatever and got put into like a private school. So like all the like my little bad girlfriends would go to like other schools parties because we didn't have parties. And so we went to this one party like out like I don't know, some kid's parents moved away and like gave them like a lake house or something. And so we went out to the lake house and the party got busted. And so I was like literally running through the woods dressed up as Pocahontas hiding. Though was that like I ended up like my boyfriend and I actually ended up like evading the police. It was so funny too because like the cops were probably having so much fun. Like they had like their flashlights and they're like Pocahontas. No, they didn't see me. I was good. I was stealthy. But they'd be like, Cinderella, we can see you behind the blue. Come out. Come on. It was stupid.
Oh my God. So early on in, through years of having like film interests in different things, in or out of horror, what comes to mind as far as three scenes that might have that are forever ingrained in your brain? Maybe they were sad. Maybe it was something that, was in a Disney movie even that was just moving, or in a horror movie that was just gross.
You want to go to your room? The scenes that stuck out to me in life was probably Almost Famous. What kind of beer?
Okay.
What? Anyways, but yeah, I mean, I don't know, honestly, like, it's really hard for me to pinpoint like favorite movies or like moments that really like stuck with me. I mean, I think I used to always like imitate Jim Carrey. So like Liar,
really?
like my all-time favorite movie. And like I would even memorize like the blooper reel, and I would like do impersonations for like my class. Too, but like that when he's like Miss Cole, he like takes a paper, he's like abuse, like that shit.
Okay.
Always and forever. And like probably like him coming out of the rhino.
Okay.
Like,
Classic.
And Scream was pretty epic, like with the like garage.
Hard, yeah.
What?
It's a tough one.
Oh gosh. Sorry. Sorry.
No. That's not a problem. No. As far as early on, there was something I noticed, and it was something that was online, and maybe something smaller. I'm not sure, but you have a cinematography credit. How did that come about? And in your youth, was there times that you made movies with friends?
For Bliss?
No, it was just on your IMDb, I think, for something.
I don't know. I might have
No?
made like a student film with like friends or something.
Oh,
honestly, I don't know.
Okay.
Sometimes like someone will be like, "Hey, be in my project," and then it comes out and like nobody sees it, but they still put it on IMDb or whatever, and you're like,
Okay. In school, was there ever times that there was different people making movies or even something for project that you took part in, or was this something a little bit further past then?
to like a big high school that had like cinema or department or anything like that. Like, I mean, like we made this like really weird video for English class one time about Pele, the volcano goddess, and my brother played Pele and he wore my winter formal dress. But like every time I did like hey, go play in your room.
Anybody watching? If you have kids, this is sometimes how these things work. Often fun, but always a handful. You just have to have some fun.
Anyway, yeah, I did like student films at UT,
Okay.
and like
Okay.
Austin. I don't know if they still have this, but it was called Austin Film Society, and it was like a thing where like local filmmakers like kind of like gathered and like stuff like that. So I did like a lot of like short film projects and like commercials and things like that, like when I was younger.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. And that, so where, from there, does your first like project come involved as far as, yourself, saying I want to take on, acting or being involved in film? How did that first initial step come?
My cousin was an actor and like a model for like kids stuff, like Dillard's and shit like that.
Mm.
And then she started doing it, and then I was like, I kind of want to start doing it. So I just started doing like plays and things like that. And like probably from 12 to 18, I was doing like a lot of plays and student films and like commercials or like industrial videos and stuff. And like voiceovers and things. And then when I turned 18, I graduated high school and I auditioned for Friday Night Lights.
Oh, okay.
I booked that job, and then that's really what kind of like jump started like my professional career.
Oh, wow. Okay. And Did you have different things that, even with it being so early on, or even mentioning, working at 12,
I wasn't
acting?
like a working actor. Hey, stop.
Oh, okay.
Here, you can have it. I wasn't like a working actor. Like I would do things I sometimes I would miss school to like go on an audition or whatever. But it wasn't like I wasn't like making any real money. I wasn't like paying my family.
Okay.
I wasn't like a child actor, I was just like a kid who did acting like on the side. Like I still went to
Okay.
school and did sports and all of that.
Okay. All right. Any early advice that, came to that maybe was a little bit earlier on that you didn't quite latch on to, but now rings with you, all these years later in the projects that you've been involved with?
I think, yeah. I mean, Michael B, like when we were doing Friday Night Lights, was always like, you really need to like get out of Texas and come out here and hit it really hard and don't get in relationships and get a business. He's like, the most important relationship you'll ever have is with your business manager.
Okay.
He's doing pretty good.
Yeah.
So maybe I should.
Okay. Okay.
I think, yeah, the best advice, honestly, is like, my brother-in-law always said, like, in high school, keep it cool. Like, if anybody wants to be an artist, I would say just, like, don't get in relationships in your teens and early 20s.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Here. Yeah, that would be my advice to, like, pretty much anybody is, like, don't get into relationships while you're, like, building your career, like, in the early stages, because you'll make, like, career-changing decisions based off of someone that you're most likely not going to meet in 6 months.
Hi.
This is the real actor in the family.
I see. She's doing a good job.
Really
Killing it.
Whoa.
Hi.
Lily Star. Oh, now she.
Now she's shy. Okay. Okay. What about, so from, my introduction to your work was Bliss. What can you tell us about, the first day as far as coming on set and what went into filming for the movie?
Well, I think the first day we did like the agency scene. And so that was like a scene that I had auditioned with. So, and it was like one of the only scenes that we shot like during the day. Everything like nighttime. So I think I was a bit like, it was a bit nerve-wracking just because like I really liked the script and it was so good. And sorry, babe. I had never been like the lead in a movie like that. So I think I was like pretty nervous and I like kind of felt a lot of pressure. And I wish that, I think in hindsight, if I could do it all over again, I would remember that like some moments are just little links to like the big, and like not every single scene has to be like, stop. Not every single scene has to be like over the top,
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And I mean, there was like so much to the movie. I don't know if it was just myself as far as like my journey with it, but I initially didn't know that it was a vampire movie. So kind of going from the earlier stage into the latter half of it, it was very jarring and it seemed very physical. Was there certain times in filming with that movie that may have pushed you a little bit, further, maybe not over the edge, but something that you had to kind of like reflect back on?
It was a very physical movie just because like we didn't have any money, so there wasn't like stunt doubles or anything like that. So like the scene where like Courtney and I are like beating each other up, she and I were really doing that. Like we weren't like hitting, like we definitely each like got a lick in on accident a couple times and we were like, it's okay, we're okay, you know what I mean? We definitely like hit each other in the face on accident, like, and when we were like taking those falls, like we were really taking those falls. And like whenever there wasn't like, it wasn't incredibly stunt heavy, but there was definitely like the scene when like the guys are playing poker and I like jump across the room. I was like rigged up. I was rigged up in like this like really like janky harness that was like attached to some ropes that were like attached to the ceiling. And so our producer Josh and like one of the other dudes, like it was kind of funny because at first they got like the smallest PA. They were like, all right, so he's gonna pull the rope. And I was like, how much do you weigh? I was like, he can't pull the fucking rope. I weigh more than him. Guys, come on. Like, you know, so Josh, our producer, is like, you know, he's like over 6 foot, like Viking, like bearded dude. So he basically had to like grab the rope at the very top and then just like sit down so that it could like give enough like to like launch me across the room. But I also had the camera attached to me, so a lot of our shots in that movie are like on like a snorri cam, which is you wear like this harness and then it's like attached, the rig is like attached like at an angle. Stop. So it was kind of like wearing a back brace that would like give you scoliosis.
Oh God.
And like, and then you have to carry the like camera, which is probably like another like 15 or 20 pounds. And it's just like off to like the side of you, but moving around like normal. And
so these were like the POV shots, like the right in front of you, like kind of capturing everything, moving shots.
Yeah, they were like the POV shots, where like the camera was like kind of it usually kind of like when it started like her descent into madness, basically. No, give me that. When it starts like her descent into madness, basically, yeah, like all those like everything that's like really really close, that was like a snorri cam. So and then once it's rigged, it's like very like it's very minute, like the angle and stuff that it's at. So like you couldn't just get in it and get out of it. Like I had to be like rigged into it. And so like when I would like sit down, someone would like hold the camera, you know. It was a pretty intense shoot, but I had like a lot of fun, and I never like complained or like cared really that it was so hard, because the movie was cool. And like, yeah, I just like, it's what you do, you know. And it was also kind of cool, like, because in some of those scenes, you know, like no one could be on that side of like, no one could be around. So we were shooting like 360 a lot. So it was like cool, because in a way, in those moments, like I was the actor and cinematographer, because like, and I was like really having to like make sure like whatever movements could actually be caught by the camera, and also that I wasn't shaking it. Like I couldn't just turn, because if I turned, the whole rig would come undone, or it would like be really noticeable. So I had to like move like very smoothly and stuff like that. Like even though I was doing all that stuff, so it was cool. I mean, I really like doing stunts. Like I like am a pretty like athletic person. I like gym stuff. You know what I mean? Like if someone's like, hey, jump on that, and it's like really tall, I'm like, heck yeah, and I will run and jump until I land it. Like it gets to be kind of like a ego thing at that point. So yeah, I really like doing stunts. And like, and also like True was a professional dancer for a really long time, so she's like small but mighty. So like when I'm like, I was like having to like jump on her back and like pull her hair and everything like that, and like she really did like a very good job. So yeah. And then and then like Joe and all of them, they're just so cool, and they're really fun, and they provide like a really cool like environment and vibe, and everyone's just like stoked to be there and make a movie, you know. Like he's a very like, it's funny because like his
his scripts, even though they're kind of like, oh, like ratchet grindhouse horror, they're like very smart and stuff. But Joe is like a very highly intelligent person. He's a total cinephile, but at his core, he's like a simple dude, and he's just like, what is better than making movies with my friends? Like,
Yeah,
literally
totally.
nothing. So like, he doesn't like, he's like totally fine to like, you know, like his budgets are like slowly but surely like getting bigger and everything. And for him, like, he's just like, he's not in like a dude that's like, oh, I'm like a puppet or anything like that at all. Like, he makes sure that he gets like final cut and that he gets to edit his own stuff. And so,
Okay.
yeah.
Was that the first time that you'd worked with Joe then? That was like the first work, like you didn't have any shorts or anything with him, right?
Yeah, no. Bliss
Oh,
was the
okay.
first together, and then Christmas Bloody Christmas was the third.
Yeah, okay, okay. And one thing, within his work is it's always the lighting, may it be VFW, may it be Bliss, and then Christmas Bloody Christmas. How is that being on set, just being consumed by that? Is that a pretty fun time filming and different?
Yeah, I mean, because when it definitely sets the vibe, because whenever you walk into set, it's like, oh God, like it looks like a bomb went off basically all the time. It is like dark and very vibey, and like, yeah, and also too, like he's very like trusting of his actors, and so he'll kind of just like create the world and then let you completely like inhabit it and like follow you and stuff like that. Like, it's not the type of set where you're showing up and you're like, okay, and then you have to hit this mark or else like everything's gone to shit. Like, he's usually lighting for like 360 coverage, and he likes to do like a lot of like really cool, like, because Joe shoots everything. Even if like we might have like a B cam or something like that, but he shoots everything. So for him, the camera is another character. So like the camera is his character. And so that's so his like voyeur necessarily is like a whole nother character that you don't really, you feel, but you don't
Oh,
see.
wow.
And so
Okay.
we're lighting like a whole world, because he likes to really be like interacting with the characters and stuff like that. Like when we were doing Bliss, like the final like showdown scene or whatever, I was like, we had like so much film, right? Like before we had to like change a roll or the sun was gonna come up or whatever. And I was just like, do you want to get weird? And he was like, yes, I want to get weird. Okay. And like everyone went on to the other side, and it was like after I had like killed Courtney and she like melted, and like this was also like, it took us like several days leading up to that point, and I was so sick of being covered in wet, like sticky fake blood
Yeah.
clothes, like would get really cold and wet and like stick to me. And I had seen this painting of it was like a pagan painting of this like woman like literally like dancing in blood or whatever. And I was like, well, you don't bathe with your clothes on. If you're gonna have a bloodbath, you gotta be naked. And so we were just like, all right, let's do this. And I was like, Josh, pump up the jams. And he just like DJ'd like the most like sinister, like crazy, like thrasher metal music. And I like did that little fake line, because like the lines of it was just like it was B12, and so
Okay.
a little fake line of B12, and then was like, yeah, let it rip. And just like we went like crazy, and I was like throwing paint and like taking off all my clothes and like doing lines. And like I had this like one thing, and it was like, he was like, do not get paint on the camera. And I was like, okay. But then there's this one shot when I like did it back, and it went
Gets on the
straight
camera. Oh no.
I'm sorry. I really didn't mean to, but it looks fucking cool, and that shot is
Yeah.
like, But he's also like the type of person that as long as it looks cool in the end, he really does not care what it took to get there.
Oh, okay.
So
And were there multiple canvas as far as like for doing those shots, or was that all just a be all
no,
end all?
So the way they did it, so Chet Zar is the guy who painted all of Desi's artwork. He does a lot of like Guillermo del Toro's monsters, and he did like a lot of the Tool videos, like you know that like one video where like the people are like walking all crazy or whatever. They like look. He made those monsters, and so it was cool like working with a legend like that. So him combined with our set designer Adeline Crane, Addie, she turned that loft into a giant white bland space, and she like built a wall. She like put up all the artwork. She sourced like all those neon signs. Like she totally like the set was immaculate. And so what she did with Chet was like the actual picture that he painted is like a post, like not even like a poster size. It's like this big. And so then was he used like really high resolution photographs of different stages of the painting. And so then we had those blown up and put onto canvas. Like we took it to like an art gallery to get like high resolution like prints done. And then we stretched that on canvas. So then the different stages that you see of her painting, and I could like actually like put paint on those or whatever. Like sometimes if like they needed to see brush on the canvas, yeah. But yeah, so we were constantly swapping out the paintings based on what version of the painting we were at up until the very end.
Damn.
Gave me some of the paint that they gave me was able to be like wiped off of the canvases also. So I can't paint at all.
I was just did that spark an interest? You know, you get home and you just start like throwing up some things.
Like, because Chet was like showing me how to do the brush and stuff like that, and I was like, "Hey, Addie, can I have like a little piece of canvas? Like, maybe I just never knew, you know how like I never knew I could draw." And then like you see like this like stencil that they did, and it looks like a photograph. Like my cousin's like that. She's like, "Oh, I'll be one of those people," and I like had my little, and I was like, "No, it's like still garbage." So.
Oh my god. So what went into the last day, finalizing, you know, wrapping up the shoot, and I guess how long was the shoot as far as for Bliss as well?
It was 27 days.
Oh wow, damn.
Yeah, so it was really fast.
And then and then as far as the final day, what was the last thing that you shot, and just the wrapping of the film?
I don't remember.
Okay. A lot going on, I can imagine.
The last day was when, oh no, I do remember. The last day we were getting like driving shots. So like the shot of like when she like eats the burrito and like is like, it was like her sunset driving, like the last time she sees sunlight until the very end. We like had like a pickup day that day.
Oh, okay. And I have to say, all in all, very fun. All the even the VFW going on to Christmas Bloody Christmas. Every time, I mean, just seeing like the world building and characters, stand up work. Absolutely, I love the stuff that's coming out and the stuff that he's doing, and that you're involved as well.
Yeah, I mean, his sets are always really great, and like he's been working with Josh and Sierra Russell, like
okay.
Time, and like they are so, they're cool people for one, and for two, like they're just so talented, and like, you know, like, yeah, I love working with them. It's always a good vibe, like, because it's just kind of like, it's like going back to like your like dirtbag high school reunion, and but I love him, and I love that he's like getting like I feel like he's getting like the recognition like he like rightfully deserves, and like his scripts and his scripts and like his budgets are getting bigger and his scripts are getting better, and like he's just like a really solid dude. Like anytime Joe calls, like if I'm available, I'll definitely do it because I love working with them, and
awesome.
it's like a family. Like, there's not a lot of people. You like usually you'll leave like a project and you're like, let's stay in touch, let's work together again or whatever, and then like you just like aren't or
Yeah,
don't
right.
or whatever. But he really means that, and it's cool to be a part of.
Totally nice. And from here, another project I wanted to touch on here, your role, Erica, in Lapsis. How did this come on onto your viewed?
Well, Noah reached out to my agent at the time and like sent the script, and I thought that the script was really cool. And hey, come on, go outside. Go outside. Look, your bubbles, your bubbles. Go pick up your bubbles. They're in the ground. Go pick up your bubble maker. I have a gate, by the way. It's locked.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. I wasn't gonna say anything. The trust in a parent with their children. That's that is funny though.
You want your bubbles? Here, I'll get your bubbles. But yeah.
That was funny. Okay. So you had known Noah previous to the project, or were you introduced to him through this film?
Yeah, so I did Lapsis, and it was really cool. And yeah, I just kind of like wanted to work in New York, and I thought that like the script was cool. And I'm really glad I did. Like that guy Dean, that was the main character.
Yeah.
He's super awesome, and he's actually been helping me like develop some scripts that I'm writing and stuff. And yeah, he's like a super cool dude. And then like that chick Ivory that was on that show with me, she and I would have so much fun. We were staying at like this like really like shitty Best Western, and there was like a Chinese food buffet like close by, so we would always go to the buffet, and like it was like terrible food, but we have like the best time. So that was a cool like experience, and that film did really well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I like Noah a lot. He's like another like smarty pants. Would love to work with him again, and people really like resonated with that film in a way that we weren't expecting.
Uh-oh.
Hello. Okay.
All right. Just wanted to make sure. And there was mention on that movie that there was a local university that was supplying robots or some sort of manufacturing. How did that come?
So at first when I was like, robots, cool, but they were literally just those little like cart, like weird things that were like carrying.
Okay.
The school's like robotics department did supply those like little machine things, which is
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, and still cool, like not to take anything away from it. I just thought that was interesting, where like they're kind of working with the community and involving, local mechanics, if you will.
Yeah, I think maybe too, like the kids were able to like get for credit or something. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, that's sick. I mean, that's awesome. I never got to do anything cool like that in school. So, I mean, props to those kids.
I goes to school for robotics. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah, right.
So impressive.
Yeah, right. With that movie, being sci-fi, what comes to mind as far as a favorite sci-fi movie of yours? Is there anything in the genre? Was that something that, generally piqued your interest? What was it?
Alien.
Oh, yeah, okay. And
like, and I like that movie Ex Machina, but if we're going like classic, I would
oh,
definitely.
yeah.
And I mean, when the like like dinosaur and the baby like alien comes out of her stomach. That's so sick. And I actually, oddly enough, I worked on a faith-based children's dog movie with Lance Henriksen, which is really funny because he's like one of the commanders like in the original Alien, and he's just like, salty old dude that was like playing my grandpa in this like very wholesome dog movie. It's very weird.
Oh no.
The
Damn,
business
that's
was weird, but he was super cool. Like everyone's always super cool, but yeah, it was just like, whoa, like you were an alien, and now we're like in nowhere in Texas doing this stupid dog movie. Like we really will do anything for a paycheck. No, just kidding. It's
I mean, it's kind of funny to see like just where sometimes like something like that pops up and it's like, how did this come on to into their field of vision as far as like thinking, hey, this is something I want to take on from.
always just that someone contacted your agent and you needed the money. Like a lot of times we're like, what drew you to this and this and that? And it's like, I mean, I like auditioned for 20 things and this is the one that said yes and I had to pay my rent. Like it's really not like that.
The overcomplicated. Yeah. Okay.
Get to that point where like they're like, nah, like what's $1 million? I have $1 billion or whatever.
Yeah, right.
Don't do something because it's not challenging or whatever, but it's like honestly, like people are just like trying to like pay their bills, and I mean, yeah, if something is just like absolute dog shit, yeah, I probably won't do it at this point. But yeah, pretty much anytime, like we'll all have like a glossy answer, but it's honestly just that we auditioned for 50 things and that's the one that said yes.
And I appreciate the honesty. I mean, there's a lot of different times where you might have something that's not so like cut and straight, but it's just interesting, for anybody who's looking into these types of myself, not really looking into being like an actor or anything, but for someone who's looking into some of those things and just kind of saying like, if it's something that's halfway decent or seems like it's at least plausible and going to actually happen, then maybe go for that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So Christmas Bloody Christmas, this is most recently, and for anybody who hasn't seen it, I don't want to get into spoilers or ruin anything, but as far as your character in this coming up, I was listening to an interview with Joe, and he had mentioned that it was initially a Silent Night, Deadly Night remake, that he just ended up getting to do his very own thing. How do you initially hear about the project, and were you trying out for this part?
No, he just called me and was like, hey, we're doing auditions for Tori right now, and if we don't find someone, do you want to be Tori? And I was like, sure. And he was like, and if we do find someone, do you want to play her best friend, Lana? And he was like, you have a pretty cool death. Sorry you're not in it longer, but like, I just want to do another movie with you. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'm down for whatever. At that point, I hadn't done anything since I had my daughter. So I was just excited to like be on set again and like, yeah, and be around the guys, be back in the so yeah, it was really great, and I love Riley. She's so cool. It was really fun working with her and Sam, and yeah, it's just like nice. Like it's funny. It's like because I've worked with Abe a couple times too, and so like Riley and Sam were like the new kids, which was funny because everyone else is people that we've all worked with before. Like Jeremy was in it and stuff like that.
Right.
And like they were great. Like they just like fit right into the family, and like they're Sam and Riley are Joe's favorite children right now.
Okay. I mean, and so you mentioned even with like Josh and Sierra, who are on repeat co-workers with Joe and yourself on these projects. Is there an initiation process for someone like Riley or somebody else who's coming in that you're like, all right, we got to see if you're cool?
No.
No.
Okay. I think probably everyone goes out and gets really like whiskey drunk, but no, there's not an invitation or anything. Like we're not like walking over hot coals or anything stupid. Like, what's up? Welcome to the family. Like it's not,
getting the project done.
Yeah.
Okay. And you had mentioned
and like on his movies at all, like there's nothing like that. Like I don't know. And it honestly, like if everyone's not getting along, it just makes it miserable. And so it's like, wouldn't you rather have like a good time over like a stupid time? Like So like have like, oh, can you handle it? Like, you know what I mean? It's not a good job. Like, you just want the movie to be good. So you want everyone to be happy and everyone to vibe and for like everything to be good. And honestly, too, I think like Joe pretty much meets with everybody like once it's like getting down to like the callback process. And he literally like won't hire someone if he's like, nah, that girl was a bitch. Like, and it could be someone that's like great or a guy that's like great. And he was like, they were such a dud to talk to. I don't want to be stuck up there for a month with that person, you know? So I think pretty much at that point, like Joe has like kind of like vetted everyone, you know? So yeah. It's not for everybody. Like those sets aren't for everybody. Like there's not trailers, it's not like comfortable at all, you know, but it's really fun and we have a lot of fun and everyone like is genuinely excited to like go to work. It's like summer camp. Like it's like adult summer camp. Make like, hey guys, let's go make a movie. But then the end product is actually like really sick, and so that's like it's always fun. Yeah.
Okay. And you had mentioned unfortunately you reach a demise in the movie. What can you tell us about shooting that and what went into that?
I think Abe was happy to kill me.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I'm kidding. I mean, it's cool. Like it's again. Sorry. Does this new she takes the poop out of her diaper and like throws it all over the place?
Oh no! Oh God!
Um, yeah, we're good. But yes, it was fun. And shooting that death scene was fun. It's always just kind of like getting into the zone, like, and you just want like you want the death to look like as brutal and like scary as possible. So you just like go all out, you know. And we didn't really do that many takes because that was all shot. Like, I'm pretty sure we shot it all in one take. Like, even though in the edit it's chopped up with the scene in the bar, we shot it all in one take. So it's like a bit of choreography and stuff. Because at that point, Gabe had the camera mounted on his shoulder. So it was just like making sure that like when he had my head that I was actually like in the line of like the camera. And yeah. And yeah, and then it's really just like a lot of like throwing your hair and selling it and, you know, screaming. And it's always funny though, too, because like when you have to go do ADR after, and it's like death sounds, and it's like, you know, like, so that was pretty funny. And like when we had to do like the sex scene, there's like there was a snow machine, like a very loud snow machine. So we had to like redub all of our
oh no.
And so it was just me and Jonah like standing next to each other in like the recording booth, you know, like with our headphones on, like, oh yeah, yeah. And then we were just it's the most ridiculous shit to like make each other like laugh. And like it was like we it was just really funny. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I bet. I can imagine. You're
just like standing like shoulder to shoulder with your coworker with headphones on, being like, yeah, yeah, no, yeah, like I don't know. It's just like ridiculous.
It's a level of comfort, you know, that it's like after those moments, you're like, well, okay, we can get past this and continue on.
Yeah, like ridiculous. But yeah, before we shot that scene, I was like starving, and we were in like this really tiny town where everything closed at like 7:30. And I was like, can someone please go get me some spaghetti and meatballs? And everyone thought that was hilarious. They were like, you're about to be in your underwear and you're gonna slam spaghetti and meatballs. It's gonna be delicious.
And you had mentioned the camera, like the POV camera on this too. Is that because I know Joe shoots to film? Is that to film as well, or is that like a digital? Like, is that? Oh, damn! Wow.
Yeah. So there's a lot of times when we're like when we were shooting like Bliss, when like our cinematographer Mike Teston would be like, "Well, I hope we can see it when it's all processed."
Oh shit!
Stuff, you know, but we can see everything. So
Dang.
yeah,
That's all. It's
little bit
awesome
of
and scary.
you know,
Yeah.
'cause, you know,
Yeah. It's
back.
okay. Right. It's nerve wracking just as far as like, man, if that shot didn't come and we don't have any more film, that's like can only imagine.
We definitely like rationed it and stuff, but you know, you can always get more.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
It's
not
not.
always.
Yeah, not quite always, but there's different times too. So, okay. If you had the opportunity, just to wrap up here in something kind of fun, if you had the opportunity, something early on that you worked on that maybe in your endeavors in writing, you could redo, maybe with a little bit more of a budget, what would be something that you would like to revisit from early on in your endeavors and maybe give it a better shot or give it a better film?
Well, I did this film called Night of the Babysitter with some friends of mine,
Oh
and
yeah, okay.
the director kind of just like disappeared after we did like a couple of like friends and family screenings. And you know, like I've reached out and been like, hey, like, can I just like finish editing it? Like, can I like give it to somebody and like have them just like fix the edit, you know?
Hmm.
And like actually give it a score and like fix the color and stuff like that. Cause I do feel like, you know, that would have a home. And I hate that we all went out there and, you know, it wasn't that much time in the grand scheme of things. We were out like in Iowa for like a couple weeks, but everyone tried so hard, and I feel like we got a lot of like really good stuff. It just needed to be like cleaned up in the edit.
Mm.
But I think that like, you know, the director is like a really cool person. He's like a total artist, and I think that at that point he just like got too close to it and didn't know how to like kill his babies to like fix like to like make it like a finished film. And I think at
Oh,
that
okay.
like, okay, I'm over it. I don't want to finish it anymore. I don't want anything of it. Like, and it's like, well, that's kind of not fair to everybody
Yeah,
else. But
yeah, right.
movie, his money. But I guess if I could finish that and like put it out, like at least on Shutter or something, like
Yeah, right.
cool. Um, and can you hear?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so I think I would redo that. And then yeah, like I think everyone wanted Friday Night Lights to go on forever,
Hmm.
but and I think everyone wanted to redo the ending of Dexter, which they are doing that now. But yeah,
Yeah.
ultimately I don't really want to revisit much from my past. I just want to make the project I'm working on now.
Sweet.
And that is like more relevant to me and more relevant to what I would like to put out there at this point in my life. Like I'm really like inspired by people like Issa Rae, who like started a YouTube channel and
Uh,
one of the most powerful showrunners in the business. So
hmm.
yeah, I want to sell my project. I want to do that. I want to like make the pilot to my taste and then sell it. So if I had the money, I'm not going to revisit anything from back there.
Yeah. Okay. I appreciate that. Okay. Nice. And you've mentioned writing too. Do you have things that are finished that are, sent out, or just more in
Um,
the process?
Pilot and a series that I'm being like I have a pilot for a series that I've finished writing and like the Bible for it. So yeah, I've done that. But yeah, besides like a scathing email or two, no, I'm not like actively writing beyond that one project that I'm like trying to get done.
Okay.
Um, but
It's
yeah,
awesome.
like in general, I've always like been a writer, so like a lot of times like people will bring me things to like proofread or like get my opinion on it and things like that. Um, and yeah, I might like start like working with some like writing partners just because like I have like a lot of
Mm.
ideas for things that I would like to have made. Um,
But yeah, I'm really just kind of focusing on getting my series picked up because and I actually didn't write it for me to be in it. I don't actually want to be in it at all. I want to just show up to set and be like, you look great. So
Okay.
it's like so much better not having to be.
Just compliments and maybe, you know, a spritz here and there for some
Yeah,
sweat that's needed.
yeah.
That's fun. Okay. That's awesome. Well, Dora, honestly, this has been great. I really appreciate it. I've been trying to reach out for some time now, ever since seeing Bliss, and this has been awesome. I appreciate all the stories and the backstory to some of these movies that myself and everybody else in this horror community are absolutely obsessed with. And anybody who hasn't seen Lapsis, such a sick movie as well, and need to dig into that too. So thank you very much for the time today. This has
Thank
been awesome.
you.
All right,
Nice.
take care.
Bye.
Yep, have a good day. Bye bye.
He's a low